Hey there, so for today I'm going to show you how I make my watermelon rind candy. There's a lot of waste that comes with the watermelon. Obviously the rind, the skin you can make the supplement powder. With the rind you could either pickle them or you can make candy out of them. And through some experimentation I managed to make it taste kind of like apple, like cooked apple when I was making it into a candy. So there's a chance that you might see a video in the future where I'm going to try and make an applesauce out of this. But for now, we're going to turn this into candied rinds. So for this recipe, I'm going to use 3 of these small personal watermelons. Just going to want to slice it sections, and that's when you want to peel it in case you want to make the watermelon powder that I made a couple of videos back. But if you kind of want to just throw them away, you can throw them away if you want. Peel all of this green stuff off because you don't want that on the candy. So yeah, let's get to it.
Speaking out against the genocide Israel is currently committing. You tell me. This is actually confronting injustice and often standing alone because of it. Huey sees the system clearly and dedicates himself to fighting oppression. Palestinians, a rich, fascinating, and multi-dimensional professional who made it. He's protected by status, but often unaware of the traps still hidden.
And after all that is said and done, it should look like this. So now you're going to want to cut them into shape. And as for the skins, it's entirely up to you as to whether or not you actually want to save them and make a powder out of them, or you can make compost, but I like to save them. And after all that is done, now you're going to want to cook it, but first I'm going to get into the spices that I use for this recipe. And so for the spices that I'm going to use for this is 2 cloves, 2 allspice, 2 cinnamon sticks, and 4 handful of hibiscus. But you got to make sure to wash this with regular water. And now you're going to want to add enough water to top this all off right here. And then you should boil it until it's all nice and soft to the consistency of like a cooked apple. And right before we start to boil, you're gonna want to add 2 things: some vanilla extract, measure with your heart, and some lemon juice, about half a cup.
In order to absorb nutrients and water from food, there needs to be a massive blood supply going through the intestines. You don't want to disturb this ever. The second thing to know is that the large intestines form a rectangle in the abdomen.
Okay, so to warn, there's a chance that it could overboil and leak out, as you can kind of see. So because of that, I have to take the spice bag out and then boil it in another pot, and that way I would just dump all the water back into this pot where the rinds are. So if you're encountering this issue, just boil the spice bag by itself, and that way you have all the flavors, and you can just start boiling the rinds by themselves.
The colon is well attached to the posterior abdominal wall, so it doesn't move. But the sigmoid colon isn't attached to this. Very soon, the pressure on the mesenteric blood vessels will block blood flow to his large intestines, choking it off of oxygen.
Alright, and this is the consistency that you are looking for. Like how I said before, cooked apple. Alright, now you're going to want to take all of the grains out, separate as much of the liquid as you can, and put it into this bowl so that way it can cool down. Look at that shit. Beautiful. You could actually eat it just like this right now. But for now, we're going to put it in the bowl. Ignore this, I'm just making some potato soup. But now that you got that separated, you should save this. Don't throw this away. You can actually make a really good tea out of this. And with that tea as well, if you don't finish it in time, you could also make some multivitamin gummies. That will be for another video though. So yeah, for now, let's focus on this. Alright, excuse the mess, but while we got that cooking, I'm going to show you what to do with this. Alright, so what I'm going to add to this spice bag is, let's see if I can say it off the top of my head. is, and everything is a third of a cup. Chamomile, rose nips, green tea, ashwagandha root, an extra allspice, damiana leaf, linden leaf flower. That took me about like a full minute to guess. But if I miss anything, I'm going to put it up on the screen right here. And other than that, I'm going to add a couple of these tangerine peels that I dried out a while ago. But yeah, let's put it in this spice bag. And just add a couple more cups of water. But I feel like I do got to stress it. You got to do some research as to what these effects could have on you. These are for my own personal use and for my own family's personal use and my friend's personal use, as it's the best combination for me. Like for example, the red raspberry leaf, it helps me sleep a lot better. The ashwagandha root and chamomile, it's a good combination for some anxiety, as well as the linden leaf flower. What you got to do is you got to do some research first and see how it affects you. That way I'm not responsible for your health. But jokes aside, you got to be responsible for your health, right? So always do your research and always be careful as to what you put in your body. Now let's wait for it to boil. Well, that's boiling. For shits and giggles, I'm just making some brown butter, and for that, some banana bread. I know this looks like shit from a butt, but this was frozen, so don't worry about that too much. Well, I'm still browning this butter. I've actually been snacking on these because, I mean, they're delicious already as is. Like I said, you can just eat it as is, but of course we're gonna dry them out. But they are pretty good already. All right, now that that's done, you can just package it into a gallon jug. But after that, it's up to you whether or not you want to drink it like this, or basically turn it into some gummies. But other than that, enjoy. And right before I forget, as for the spices in the bag, it's completely up to you whether or not you want to take it out, throw it away, or use for compost. Or sometimes what I'd like to do is I'd like to put it on the drying rack and put it in the dehydrator. That way it's a good way to reuse it for good hot tea. So now we're gonna get started on the sugar syrup mixture. Now I'm doing it this way with the molasses and white sugar because I'm out of piloncillo. So I would say this is about like a cup and a half of sugar. And as for the molasses, just enough to get it nice and dark. And again, I'm using the molasses and white sugar because I'm out of piloncillo, which is an unrefined brown sugar. Once you see it like this, separating, the water's evaporated enough. So now you're going to want to add in your rinds. You're going to want to put it on the medium high again, but occasionally stir, because otherwise you're going to break these apart and it'll dissolve into the sugar syrup since they're already cooked. So yeah, see you until then. You're going to want to keep a close eye on it if you're going to put it on a medium high. Otherwise it could burn, but yeah, see you until then. Yeah, in case you guys are wondering what that background noise is, that's just my bird watching his TV. So after about 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to want to take it off of the heat and then separate the rinds again. And at that point, you're going to want to dehydrate them. And this is why I put it on a medium high instead of a medium low. It's just a little bit more faster. But again, you got to keep an eye on it, otherwise it could burn. So now that you got that separated, what to do with this, that's entirely up to you. What I like to do is once it cools down, I actually like to add it into the tea that I made. So that way it doesn't quite go to waste. And that way I don't have to add too much sugar to the tea. I can just drink it as is from the fridge. Now look at that. And just like I said before, you can literally eat it as is. Incredibly tender. So I'm gonna make a video in the future, or a couple more, to see if it's possible to make an apple pie or some apple sauce out of this, because it does taste like a very tart apple. But in this case, I'm gonna be saving some of these on the side, so that way we can make some empanadas. But yeah, now you're gonna wanna put this on a drying rack. And depending as to whether or not you have it, either a mesh net or just some regular parchment paper, that can do as well. And just lay it out nice and even with a little bit of space in between, so that way they don't get stuck together when they dry together. Yeah, see you till then. All right, we got them on the rack. I'll see you until then. So I had these in here for about 8 hours, and they should look about like this, but it's up to you as to whether or not you want to put more hours in there or for less. But that's how you make my candied rind.